over here.
Hey, listen, I'm not sure it's lucky, man. The pain we're going through in there, there's no luck in that, boy.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. So how's Cam? Because obviously you're in Portugal, so you're over there with Dillian.
Yeah. Cam's good, man. Cam's good, really good. You know, just knocking him down, doing what he's doing. You know, he just, you know, he knows he's got a very big test in front of him, so he's just knocking him down, and he's very, very good. You know.
Yeah.
Like you know, we've said in the past, there's not a lot of talking being done. All the talking will be done in the ring, and you know.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. You know what I mean?
Is he looking forward to it though?
You know, I don't know. He's not really gone on that note and said he's looking forward to it. But look, this is his first world title shot, which he's waited a very long time for. And what we know is there's no stone been unturned. He's proper putting the miles, and he's putting himself through hell and doing what he's doing, and not getting into any big complications on conversations and back and forth, wasting invaluable energy which he can use, and getting into the mind games theory. He's relentless. He's very good at the mind games. He's the Jedi mind warrior. You know what I mean? He's got in a lot of opponents' head before they've got in the ring and unsettled them. And in this instant, obviously, they've not had that, so he's not had to draw on Dillian's energy. And, them press conferences, they take a lot out of people, a long day of filming, talking, different media, camera outlets, lights, the camera action, all that day takes a whole lot of energy out of him. And he's not had that. I've seen line that Warren's going on about, some breach of something because he's not done his obligation in promoting the fight of some sort. I don't know about that, but look, what we do know is, I'm sure he's put up on his Instagram that, the fight is done, he's ready, he's rearing at one stage and announced it. So, but listen, like I say, he's gonna mean business on April the 23rd.
Those are the words of Dean Whyte, brother of Dillian Whyte, as he gives you firsthand information. Shout out to Sporting Icons for conducting a great interview. And the audio does improve, so check that out. I'll leave the link below so that you guys check out the full exclusive with Dean Whyte. And this clip reveals what I've known the whole time, okay? Dillian Whyte didn't really show up at those press conferences. I think he would have, but I think Frank Warren and Bob Arum, those guys made it easier for him to skip out on it just by being cheap, okay? Just by being cheap, it made Dillian Whyte say, you know what? Since you guys didn't do what you say you were going to do according to what me and my lawyer discussed with you, Frank Warren's son and all this, that, and the other, you guys know the back and forth they had. I just decided to, you know what? I'm going to continue training and you guys do what you do and let Tyson Fury run the show. I'm not getting an upside anyway unless I knock out Tyson Fury, so I really don't need to be there. You've put up a record-breaking purse bid, so guess what? You got to pay me too. So the mind games with Tyson Fury, Dean Whyte also admitted he's great at that. He's the #1 pound-for-pound mind game shit-talking this guy that we know. Okay, so Tyson Fury can definitely do that. I used to put Jarrell Miller second, but Tyson Fury's definitely first. Okay, and he will get in your head. Look what he did to Deontay Wilder. He got in Deontay Wilder's head from fight 1. Okay, and that will throw you off and anybody off. And I do agree, and it is true, that those press conferences take a lot out of you. Okay, it reminds me of Canelo Alvarez when he took his first loss, his first official loss to Floyd Money Mayweather. And all the words and all the interviews that he kept having to do, and you could tell it was all so frustrating and it was draining him because he had to say the same thing over and over again to the Sun, to the Metro, to HBO, to Showtime, to Fight Height, to Fight Hub. He had to say the same thing over and over and over again, and you could tell how frustrating that was. This tactic by Dillian Whyte was pretty smart. Why? because Dillian Whyte doesn't have to worry about that because he didn't involve himself in that type of situation. We've seen Dillian Whyte become overly invested and overly emotional when it came to promotions and buildup. Let's take the Derek Chisora fight. Derek Chisora threw water in him in the Beyond the Gloves fight. I mean, a podcast, right? That show. He threw water on him, called him "Who's the Donkey," and splashed him with water. Had those guys about ready to bare knuckle fist fight. Okay. Then he got a chair thrown at him. Okay, by the same guy. And then what happened in that particular fight? It was an all-out brawl, and I think Dillian Whyte took a lot of punishment that he probably normally wouldn't took, but he emotionally fought Derek Chisora because Derek Chisora got in his head with all the mind games. You think Tyson Fury can't do the same thing? Of course he can, and he will if he's allowed the opportunity. And I think that's what Tyson Fury does. He'll get you in there and get to talking to you because it ain't no stopping with Tyson the Gypsy King. Okay, you can't out-talk him. You can't talk him down. You can't do that because he's not going to let you. You're not going to get in his head. He's going to get in yours. And Dillian Whyte knows that. Dillian Whyte sparred with him numerous of times. He knows the personality of Tyson Fury. Okay, so he's seen what he can do firsthand on his mouthpiece game. Okay, so good interview. What I didn't like, though, is when Sporting Icons asked Dean, like, hey, is he happy to see it? Is he up for the fight? He was like, well, I can't really see that. I didn't really like that because it's like, okay, you're supposed to be excited about it, enthused about it. This is the first time you got your opportunity that the WBC and other powers that be snatched you away from. Okay, so, I that's something that kind of, because obviously it's something there that he's not liking that I think that should be there. Okay. So when asked about that, he was like, I'm glad he didn't bullshit anyone, you know what I mean? But, Dillian Whyte didn't really claim to have a huge enthusiasm for this fight. So, that's another thing that I scratched my head on when I heard it. But other than that, it's a good thing. At least he knows, and at least we know that Dillian Whyte's training hard for the fight. Tyson Fury supposedly training hard for the fight as well. So we'll see as time permits what goes down, and especially what happens on April 23rd. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Dean Whyte saying that Dillian Whyte has been working hard, has been working around the clock, no stones unturned. Tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.